to you about this, internet hate. Bosses at Google, Facebook and Twitter are appearing before a parliamentary inquiry into hate crime online. These are live pictures as we speak to you. Social media and technology companies have been threatened with tough new laws unless they do more to curb cyberbullying, sexting and trolling as part of a new internet safety strategy. Head of the Home Affairs Committee, Yvette Cooper, speaking right now, challenged the Google representative over an apparently anti-Semitic video that appears on the tech giant's YouTube platform.
Is there actually something which justifies the title which says Jews admit organising white genocide?
I'm not going to defend the content of the video. The video I find abhorrent and offensive. But the question, the important question, and this is a question relating to the wider issues of freedom of expression, is that content illegal, and does it break our guidelines? And our policy and legal experts arrived at the conclusion that no, it didn't.
Ooh, bit of squirming going on there, wasn't there? Let's speak to the comedian and activist Kate Smurthwaite, who is joining us now. Hi to you, Kate. So, are they doing anywhere near enough, these big organisations?
Well, I mean, the short answer is no. It must be said, first of all, that a few years ago they did nothing. A few years ago you couldn't report problems on platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and so on. So, you know, there has been progress. There is now a button that says, I want to report this. And I think that there are still some problems, though, when it comes to what happens when you push that button. First of all, it's quite a long and complicated process. And, you know, if you're somebody like me who gets hundreds of pieces of internet abuse every day, you simply can't, you know, try and use that process more than very, very occasionally. It would be much easier if there was a quick little kind of flag this as a problem, you know, and then you could come back to things later and go, well, what do I want to put more information in on? You know, what do I need to, you know, there should be a very short way of just sort of going, this is not okay, coming back to it. Secondly, you know, there's a situation on Twitter where you can't, if you're going to report something, you can't block that person until you've been all the way through the process, because you have to take screenshots of this, that and the other. It's quite a process. And in the process, there's actually some elements of it that I certainly find quite problematic. You know, like it sort of says, like, I don't like this, why don't you like it? You know, A, because it's breached someone's copyright, or B, I just don't like it. And often I'm left trying to explain, you know, when someone has sent a string of expletives, horrific comments about me, photos of genitals, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I'm last asked, why are you offended by this? Well, what, I mean, you know, it's ridiculous. I should just be able to go, obviously, this is a problem. And I think the other thing that these platforms need to do is actually to help the police. You know, I think that the police want to do something about this and aren't necessarily sort of skilled up, ready to do it. And one thing is collating what comes in. So, you know, we know that some internet abuse comes from a school kid who perhaps has been bet by his or her friends to, you know, send something and don't want to lose their dinner money. And some internet abuse is sent by individuals who do this day in and day out to hundreds of different people and kind of, you know, run absolute hate campaigns. And if the internet companies can collate what's coming in, they can turn to the police and say, right, this individual does seem to be a problem. It's not a question of here's one nasty thing he said to Kate. It's a question of here's a whole folder of stuff that he's been saying or she's been saying, and you know, then we can look at it as a whole rather than trying to run a court case on 140 characters, which, you know, of course, seems excessive a lot of the time when you think, well, they're probably drunk or just, you know, in a bad frame of mind for that one moment. So, yeah, I think there's a lot more that can be done. I'm really pleased that this is being taken on and addressed now, yeah.
I wonder, though, you know, of course, if they're threatening violence or if it goes further than that, then is a big issue. But, you know, I get a lot of trolls as well. They don't particularly bother me. I just imagine them being in their mum's basement with their balcony bellies, drinking White Strike, waiting for their mum to shout them for their tea. And, you know, and probably even more infuriating for them, I just mute them rather than block them. So they've no idea that they're just talking to the ether. Isn't that a better way of approaching it?
Well, it's interesting that we do end up talking a lot, don't we, about what's the best way to deal with being on the receiving end of internet abuse. And, you know, of course, you've got a great strategy, and I'm glad it's working for you. And I use all of those strategies too sometimes. But on the other hand, I don't think that we should be asking the question, how should victims respond to being victims of crime? The fact is, the people who need to behave differently are the people who send this abuse, not, and of course we know that sometimes this abuse gets to people who might be perhaps, school children, and we know that people have committed suicide after internet bullying. So I don't think we should be kind of sat there going, oh, look, they've only said this or they've only said that, drawing the line. The fact is, if it bothers you, then it's abuse. That doesn't mean there's going to be a court case, but if it bothers you, you need a process to deal with it, and there should be options there. Do you want to block this person? Do you want to actually mention to the company themselves that you're unhappy with this, and see if this is a habit that this individual's doing? Do you actually need to go as far as talking to the police? And I think we have to be very careful of not saying that what the right or wrong way is. Sometimes I respond, sometimes I ignore it, sometimes I block, sometimes I go and sit in my room and have a little cry. And I'm allowed to do all of those things. But you say that, it's absolutely fine for victims to respond to crime however they wish to.
It's great to talk to you as always. Thanks very much indeed. Let me know your thoughts. If you've been muted, I won't hear from you though.